I'm gonna be honest, this didn't look like a particularly good movie. The poster is pretty terrible and there's virtually no reviews or ratings on IMDb or Letterboxd, and the few that there are aren't very good at all. And the whole premise just sounded rather bland and not all that interesting. So why did I decide to watch it? Well, it really comes down to the cast. With people like Parker Posey, Ken Jeong, and most importantly Aiden Young, who a lot of you might not even be familiar with because I only know him from one thing as well. A TV show called Rectify that I'm pretty sure almost no one watched. And it's one of the slowest and most bleak TV shows I've ever seen. But I loved it and he stars in it, and that's the real main reason I wanted to watch this. I wanted to see what else he can do, to see him in a bit of a different role. Well, turns out that this role is actually very similar in a lot of ways to that one. But I can't complain because he plays sort of a brooding, slightly tragic character very well. I mean, he's perfectly cast in this, but it doesn't really allow him to show that much range. But anyway, what's the premise here? What's the movie actually about? Well, it's about this man who's lost his wife, and just to twist the knife in his wound, his father-in-law decides to make his life even more difficult by taking away the last thing he really cares about. And the story basically follows him as he tries to fight for the thing he cares about. But of course things get complicated even further when a woman comes into the picture. And in a lot of ways you could almost call this a romantic comedy. Because there is some romance in this and a lot of humor too. But at the same time, it doesn't really follow the structure of a romantic comedy to a T either. And I would probably call it more of a comedic drama with some romance in it. But what I will say is this, it does all of those things very, very well. The drama is compelling, the comedy is funny, and the romance is believable. The acting is also very good, and I like the writing in this overall too. Not just from a dialogue perspective, although that is pretty sharp too, but also from the point of view of the story itself. Because it's very well structured and there were a ton of minor subplots, if you can even call them that, just minor little details that weave into the story. And you know what? The movie never left any of them hanging, they're all resolved by the end of it. Which is a sign of good writing, and it just shows that writer-director Hernan Jimenez cared about this project. This wasn't something he just threw together for the sake of it. It seems to me that he actually cared and put a lot of thought and effort into it. And the end result is actually pretty good, because I ended up liking this quite a bit. And apart from the few times when the comedy got a tad bit too silly for its own good, I genuinely don't have any complaints about this. It's just entertaining, compelling, and it works. I mean, even the wacky sidekick character, who you might think is just there for comedic relief, ends up having a lot more depth to him than you'd expect, and I loved that about this. Now, as a whole, this doesn't have a ton of surprises up its sleeve. Especially when it comes to the general plot, it's kinda predictable. And I wouldn't say it's all that innovative or that it's reinventing the wheel here. But I just keep coming back to the fact that it just works. It simply works. And yeah, I like this quite a bit. However, would I recommend it? Yeah, especially if you like comedic dramas, give this one a shot. Or don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.